Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. We're going to predict the future, and I predict that my guests are going to be Dalibor, Suchy, and Nina the Mystic from Nina's channel. Anyway, that's called Nina now, and catch her on Rumble and Instagram and all these other places that she is. And I will put that all in the description. Sorry, I haven't got that there. Or you can tune into her channel anytime you want. And remember to go to her Patreon and also sign up there. You can get the Hump Day message. And if you go to the Streamlabs, you get one of these neat shirts that say Milky Way Soul Tribe with my pretty smiling face on it. Plus, there's a couple other ones on there. And you can get these neat cups, hey, with the Anakarana on it. And that is the best. Plus, you can get these cool stickers that you can put on your little notebooks that you write in your dream journals or whatever you have. Health, prosperity, and wellness, and protection, all together in one. But tonight, thank you both for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Well, predictions. Predictions have gone through history plenty of times. We've had predictors out there that have prophesized events in history to come from times and ages back, from Nostradamus to Edgar Cayce and more. But tonight we are going to shoot on something local and recent. And we're going to study a little bit and talk a little bit about, of course, Trump and the assassination attempt, which failed. And here he is still alive. Was this predicted, or was it predicted for him to die? That's the big question. What say you?
Well, in my opinion, I think the whole thing was fake. I think the whole thing was staged. And, you know, put it this way. If you go to imdb.com and put in the name Donald Trump, you will find an entry. Because he really is an actor. I mean, he's been in a couple of movies. He was in Back to the Future. He had his own TV show. He's also worked with Vince McMahon. He worked with World Wrestling Entertainment and other people from that milieu. And he's also got people from WWE working for him for his campaign. I mean, as evidence of that, he had Hulk Hogan do an opening speech for him. I don't know when this was. I think it was yesterday. And I think that says it all, because this is just the type of special effect that the WWE is known for. Like fake blood, fake assassination, fake violence. You know, I'm willing to bet that nobody died during this event. Nobody was hurt. I mean, all you got to do is really look at the footage. Just look at the reaction of the crowd behind Trump in that grandstand. I mean, they're literally a meter off the ground. I mean, normal people don't just cower in place. Normal people, at the sound of gunfire and they see somebody like getting shot, they would have scattered to the four winds. They would have not been sitting in their seats. I mean, that just does not look natural at all. Also, the guy who allegedly captured that bullet in mid-flight, in mid-air, that's physically impossible, because he could have only done that if he had a camera with a shutter speed of 1/8,000th of a second. Okay, and no normal news camera has that kind of capability.
So I got a little bit of tea on that one, actually. Apparently, he was placed there because he was supposed to get the headshot. And yeah, this guy had that kind of camera. Can you imagine that picture, like seeing his head just explode and like, wow, talk about, you know, $1 million shot. So apparently he was placed there by them to take the trophy shot, which turns out to not being the case. And so it could be, But then again, I've also heard of people talking about, oh, what is that? Not even talking about it being a bullet. What is that? Is that something else? You know, so every community is going to try and cash in on these things now, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The Christian community's got their own agenda. They're cashing in on their end. And the UFO, they're going, oh, could that have been a UFO? You know, like, you know, no matter what community you go into, they're going to have something that's going to get your attention and get the clicks and the views and the money, essentially, you know. But for me, I don't. My gut first thing is exactly what you just said. It looked like a classic wrestling move, Trump move. You know what I mean? That was my first gut instinct when I saw it. Then I started seeing footage on the witnesses and whatnot. I mean, if we're going to say it's completely fake, then all of that would have, you know, so I don't know about that. I think that's going a little too far. I think that the whole thing was there. He was on stage. There's obviously probably people that got hurt because that's not beneath them. They don't care if they, you know, and I've heard also there's multiple shooters. So this bullets come from all over the place. And like I said, they don't care about casualties. You know what I mean? Now, but the people right behind Trump that you're seeing in that classic shot, literally, no pun intended there, they're definitely not real audience. That they look like extras to me. Yeah, they were placed there. They didn't look like they were afraid at all. Matter of fact, this one guy looked like it was like Gilligan's Island. It's just strange behavior. So that makes it look really weird, you know. And then you got to, you know, going back to the witnesses here, like, a lot of people saw this guy up on there. Nobody's doing anything. And when you look at the security team, like, what the heck was that? It looks like a comedy show. Like, really, it looks like a comedy show. You could just put a little bit of music there and you'll be sitting there laughing with your popcorn. I mean, it doesn't seem real. Like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like they don't care that we know. They don't care, you know? And so, yeah, really bizarre. What do you think there, Robert?
Well, I think it was really kind of set up and played. I mean, the thing is, you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. You just have to say, like the camera guy, something's going to happen, I believe. And if you go there with a camera that's going to shoot super speed, you might be pretty lucky. And what is he going to do? What is he going to do? Not go? Report it? They didn't really tell him anything. You know, and like the FBI director lady was there, remember? And she was standing there, and after the shooting, she was just like texting on her phone, like, "Yep, they missed." You know, like it didn't faze her one bit that bullets were whizzing around. Nothing. And why would she be there of all places? She didn't take any comments, nothing. She turned down any interviews, nothing. She was there for a purpose. Also, you know, you got the stock market thing. You've heard about that, where, you know, they bought 12 million shares and shorted themselves on it, figuring that the stock was going to drop, and then came back a next day or so and said, oh, we made a mistake. It was 12,000. But you think if Trump had gotten assassinated, they would have said, yep, it's 12 million. You know, but are they normally buying stock of Trump stock? That's the big thing. No, they're not normally buying. Other things happen, you know. So all of this seems to be set up like this kid was just allowed to go in there. And when, you know, the police were supposed to be on the roof, the FBI said, and the police said, no, we were supposed to just be directing traffic. Well, you know, you got you got, and then of course his Secret Service was replaced mostly with some other agents, you know, and so he didn't have the normal Secret Service agents that he was supposed to have. All of this is not random. This does not happen randomly. And for the kid to plan this out, apparently he either brought the gun there earlier or the ladder. He went and bought the ladder. They knew about all this stuff. This kid is dumb. He's 20 years old. Come on. You tell me that this kid is 20 years old and he planned this out and well.
furthermore, this kid had a car loaded with explosives. Like, what the hell was he planning on doing? Was his plan like, okay, first I assassinate the president and then I'll detonate the bombs, or like first detonate the
Yeah, it
bombs and
doesn't
then
make sense.
assassinate the president? Like, it does not make sense.
And then
They
they said, oh, well, they found his car a mile away. And then they changed the
Yeah,
story later. You told me that this kid walked a mile with a ladder and a gun and whatever in these
and
big
nobody noticed.
in the summer, and nobody
Yeah,
noticed
and
that. You know, it just, and then they changed the story all of a sudden. Oh no, then they found some car, closer to or whatever. Like, so yeah, no, this guy was definitely a patsy, one of those classic
mhm.
MK Ultra type of kids.
well, see, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
If they were betting on this kid shooting the president or an ex-president,
I don't think they were.
He was the patsy.
I don't think they were counting on him doing it.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 shooters. You got to have somebody to get caught, just like in the JFK shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to have the guy on the knoll doing the actual shooting. Then you have the guy, in the depository,
Storm drain.
And the storm drain too. And in that way, you got somebody's going to actually hit the guy, and then there's going to be somebody who's going to miss, and so forth and so on. Because if you counted on just one guy, of course, he might miss, and then he's going to get killed, and everything goes down the drain. So you got to have 2 or 3 guys, but the other guys get away. Those are the real
shooters. I know.
The real shooters.
Mhm.
Patsy, the fall guy. And dead men don't talk. So, yeah, unfortunately, they don't
thing
talk
is
about
if they plan this out, like you can obviously see it. It seems obvious that this was known that it was gonna happen. You know that there was real people who were sharpshooters there, and this guy was the patsy who was let in, ignored. They knew he was going to get killed, and then the other guys could do their job, because a real sharpshooter who does this kind of stuff does not go there and figure on getting caught. But see, this kid was probably led to believe, there was probably a handler that led this kid to believe, I'm probably going to have this over, led this kid to believe that he was going to get away. And that's why he had explosives and stuff in his car. Because, if he knew he was going to die, he might not, most people, if they know they're going to die, are not going to go on a suicide mission, are they?
Yeah, and they're not going to be planning subsequent acts of violence, right?
No.
After they're killed, obviously.
And most people wouldn't do it if they knew that was going to be the end, right? So they're being led to believe that there's some kind of reward after doing this, obviously, whatever that is. And yeah, handler, I'm thinking maybe it's the dad. He grew up with just the dad, I heard. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the mom. And then why is a father of a 20-year-old who's an adult calling the cops middle of the day worried about your son? Why would you be worried about your son? He's 20 years old. He should be out there partying. Like,
yeah, right.
Because and now you felt bad because you know what's happening, and because he raised them. That's how far these things can go. That you get a kid newborn and you raise them, and they don't even know that they're being raised for something like this.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah,
but the other weird thing, that the one thing I found really weird about this whole story, or alleged story, is the fact that this kid appeared in a BlackRock commercial.
Yeah,
he was an extra.
That's not saying he's being
but
groomed.
that's not the odd thing. The odd thing I really find about it is the fact that BlackRock actually took the commercial down. They scrubbed it off their website. They took it down from all platforms and from their social media. It's like, why? Because this kid appears in it? I mean, what did they know?
He's the enemy number one now that was just taken down. So we can't be glorifying him.
Why would he be enemy number one? He didn't do anything.
Well, he's gone now, or they don't want the evidence later on to be that he was associated with that. Obviously.
Yeah, the association part.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but technically speaking, he didn't really do anything. He just attempted to.
I feel sorry for him, honestly. I think he was just led to slaughter, and had no idea what he was really doing there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely they duped him into with some story like, oh yeah, we have a way of making you disappear or whatever. They
Yeah.
just do the deed, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that he wanted. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And he was
Well,
being groomed. I mean, you can tell because his dad was taking him to the shooting range to teach him how to do this. You know, and
yeah,
he used to walk
what
around with Barbie
dad,
clothes. And,
but
you
but
know.
see, that's the thing. What dad doesn't teach his son?
Well, I mean,
to
yes, but still, I don't know. To me, it just, I don't know.
You
It
know,
seems
he
more
probably wasn't taking him to the shooting range and putting up posters of Trump and saying, hit him in the head, hit him in the head. You know, I mean, my dad was there telling me how to shoot a gun, you know, when I was a kid. But it's just what dads do.
Yeah, no, I guess that's not unusual, I guess, but
yeah, you know, we used to sit on the porch and you know, plink at things off the porch and go out and shoot in the back 40, you know, and that was just what we did. It was a thing, and I remember it was good times with the dad. I mean, I didn't really get to do a lot of things with him, but you know, that was one of the things we did once in a great while, and it was kind of a treat. So that doesn't seem odd. I mean, that seems normal. Normal or odd normal would be is that the kid plans this out ahead of time. You know, was he what I want to know is, was he really outspoken about Trump?
He wasn't, apparently. He didn't really have any posts on social media. He didn't post anything radical. You know, they found one receipt for $15 for the Republican years ago, which he's only 20 years old now. So like that almost seems staged right there.
Yeah.
And then there was one other thing for the other party. So I think he, you know, they don't know what they're going to be used for in the future. So they kind of maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, so that later on we can kind of fish the receipts later, you know, but he didn't have any radical kind of political thing at all, according to his classmates, according to social media.
You got a really good point. I mean, what 20-year-old has a huge political outlook on life?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said too. You know,
which one of them has a huge political axe to grind? And also, as with all the media coverages of all these incidents, the shooter always has 3 full names, right? Lee Harvey Oswald. You know, why is that? I mean, did Lee Harvey Oswald or all these other shooters like individually go by all 3 names? Were they called that? You know, or?
But then also Crooks. That name alone is kind of like, you know, we do seem like we're in a matrix. Honestly, it does. When you look at it as a game, like it's just hilarious, you know, with the names and the things. When you look at all the different things.
Well, I mean, there's a Crooks Ave by where I used to live in a city called Patterson, and there's a cemetery on it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Well, and
that's the thing. Is well, never mind. I was not the box, but these people plan these things out, and they use you know, they pick somebody who has these names and, you know, fits the profile so everybody can believe it.
Yeah, but Crooks was a scientist who invented the so-called Crookes tube, which was like a precursor to the television picture tube, to modern television technology, or I should say old-fashioned television technology. You know, the big tube, right?
Yeah.
It started out as a so-called Crookes tube.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah, but there's always some kind of a play on names, like with the Kennedy assassination, right? Kennedy was killed in a Lincoln, right? Lincoln was killed at Ford's Theater. Lincoln is made by Ford, right? Both had vice presidents named Johnson, right? Both were succeeded by somebody named Johnson. And there were also similarities between cabinet members between both administrations.
Yeah,
I know.
So there's
that. I know.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there between those two. So in other words, there's always some kind of a play on names. The names do mean something,
Well,
unfortunately.
and speaking of that, names, and you're talking about, wasn't it Gene? And speaking of seers or soothsayers, or you should call them, you have Jean Dixon, who was Nixon's right-hand lady there, and she predicted JFK's assassination. Now, did she have intel, or was she just actually seeing this?
That's also another relatedness of names. Yeah, the Nixon Dixon, right?
Yeah. Nixon and Dixon. That is so true. Well, and who's our latest predictor of this event?
Also, the other name coincidence is the former vice president was Pence, right? And this one is Vance, right? So 3 of the letters are the same. What's up with that?
That is true.
It's like it's almost like he was trying to recycle the sign, but only change 2 letters, right?
Yeah. So you go back and you look at. I'll let you do this first.
Oh, so here we were talking about predictors of futures. Like Jean Dixon. Nixon kept her right there because she was his soothsayer. And here, YouTuber yearly predicts Trump's assassination attempt months ago, claims it came to him in a vision from God, of course. And an Oklahoma pastor predicted the attempt assassination of Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump in an eerie detail a month ago, claiming it came to him from a vision of God. An Oklahoma man predicted blah, 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 a video of the podcast.
Brandon Dale Biggs, 3 names again.
3 names again, yes. Trump would be targeted and the bullet would fly by his ear. I saw Trump rising, and then I saw a attempt on his life. Biggs told Pastor Steve such co-hosting and taping. Yeah. So, and then of course, it says this bullet flew by his ear and it came close to his head, but it busted his eardrum. Biggs continued, adding the vision came to him a few weeks before the taping. And I saw he fell to his knees during the time frame and he started worshiping the Lord. So there you go.
I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Does he come out of this with, all this Jesus stuff now? Like, I don't know.
Well, you know how politicians are. They're going to, embrace anything that will get the voters. if he has to drop to his knees and say it was an act of God, or if it was
he's the chosen one, he's the special one. You know what I mean? So he's going with it. Of course, it's going to be ching for him, right? I mean,
it's probably because that's the minority that he's most afraid of. Is like people with guns, the Christians, right?
Yeah,
the conservative Christians.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what he's going for.
What else is he doing? He's embracing.
Go back to what I was going to say. Look at Pence there, or the guy that took over. That he just JD,
Vance.
right? JD.
Yeah, JD Vance.
Well, go look at where he's all about, where his loyalty lies. Okay, and you'll go back.
I don't know much about him.
About Trump before, okay, what Trump is all about.
I don't think nobody knows much about him. I've never heard of JD Vance before today.
I saw a whole thing on him. I've already gone. Yeah, people have already done shows on it. You can see it all. His loyalties lies with, Jays.
And here you can see this. This is what you call it. That
Hulk Hogan.
Enough! I said, let Trumpomania, brother, let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great.
You see what I'm saying? It's like
that's exactly like the movie Idiocracy. That's exactly when like President Dwayne Mountain Dew Elizondo Camacho walks out in front of Congress, with the submachine gun blazing, the huge oversized gold medallion on his chest. I mean, same vibe. I mean, oh my God.
It's the same shit show. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's theater. It's professional wrestling for intelligent people. That's what politics is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That's this whole thing is like
And this presidency or so-called presidency or campaign or whatever is a crossover between politics and wrestling. That's what it
Pretty much.
is.
It's all acting for sure.
It's
You
all
know,
acting. Yeah.
And whether or not Trump knew exactly what was going to happen, I don't think he did. I think he knows that they are going to pull certain things. But this just sealed the deal for Trump. Like he just won now for this, right?
Yeah, yeah, probably, yeah.
Trump train now, you know. Even people who weren't before are like, oh yeah, you know, he's chosen by God now. He must be this. He's the savior. That they're
especially if since Yuval Harari even said, "Oh, if Trump gets elected, then all our evil plans will be thwarted." Oh no,
right.
You know.
Right. So we must elect him. Yes.
Yeah. So we must elect him.
Gotta elect him. Yeah. And here we go again. Ukrainian Catholic pastor gave prediction at Trump's rally. Priest says know what prompted him to warn of shootings, says American political partisans dehumanize opponents. You know, so like I said, it's all there. Of course, none better yet than you know, of what else? One other one really which one of you can figure on which one predicts everything else?
Well, you woke up to a shooting incident. That took place.
You know, and
woke up to a shooting incident. That took place.
What's that?
What are we listening to?
When you woke up to a shooting.
Okay, so anyway, the big thing, Simpsons always predicts something.
Oh, Simpsons,
right?
yeah.
Oh, Simpsons, yeah.
Yes. And of course, we can't stop without the Simpsons, you know, a little bit. And here we go.
World woke up to a shooting incident that took place during.
So was he supposed to die? That's the question. You know, Simpsons predict a lot of things, and here it's showing him dead. Was there an intervention? That's my question.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday,
Saturday. Did you notice she said Saturday?
There you go.
Saturday.
It was a Saturday.
Leaders have expressed their shock and condemned such an act of violence. A section of
and there's the Secret Service asleep, just like they were when they were at the rally.
Yeah.
People on social media has tried to lighten the mood by.
And there's that guy on top of the roof.
Yeah.
You know, in all those videos. I mean, is this not eerie? I mean, considering that they're writing this, you know, years before, and then it comes up. This is kind of what it looks like.
By referring the incident to the all-time hits show, The Simpsons. For context, The Simpsons is known for its bizarre predictions. It all started after a user claimed that Donald Trump's shooting incident was predicted by The Simpsons. While sharing a set of screenshots from the episode, the user said Simpsons got some explaining to do. A few were shocked to know that The Simpsons actually predicted Donald Trump's assassination attempt. Meanwhile, at the
see, but I want to say that in The Simpsons, it was Donald Trump's assassination death, not his miss.
Not an attempted assassination.
I know, I've seen him in the coffin there on that show before. And so I've been waiting for that to happen, to be honest with you, because they're usually right. And so I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of interesting, isn't it?
Well,
which actually kind of fuels more on the whole, oh, God must have saved him theory. That's the thing, right? So maybe Simpsons actually set us up this time with that, you know? So, yeah.
And of course, well, and seeing that's what gets me is, you know, the Simpsons were predicting this and they kind of mirrored it out, but they've mirrored a lot of things. This is not just the first time. And
Yeah, that is kind of strange. That is kind of strange how many times they predicted stuff.
Yeah.
The Simpsons is known for freakishly predicting the future.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
And once again, it's making headlines for an old episode eerily mirroring the present day. Channel 4 in the UK recently pulled an episode that could be seen as being in bad taste in the aftermath of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump during a rally on July 3rd.
And now there's a meaning behind this blood on his face.
Of course.
Did you know that?
Yeah, but the raised fist, that's what communists do. I mean,
I know.
That's not
this was going to be the thing that you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that blood doesn't even look like it would come down like that.
No. That does not look real.
It doesn't.
No,
look
it doesn't.
Real, you know. Yeah, that's what I was. That was my first gut instinct. It was you know, it'd be so easy to just bend down, nick your own ear, and just come back up. Oh, yeah, fight, but you know what I mean? Like it's just,
exactly the same effects that exactly the same techniques that they use in Worldwide Wrestling Federation, right? In wrestling,
that's right. Yeah.
Plus, like, from where did the bullet come? Did it come from the front to the back? If so, then why is the blood going from the back to the front to his mouth, right?
Well, and then that's the next thing. If the real shooter, because you know as well as I do, is that kid would have been so off the mark. Come on, really?
Yeah.
He was not an expert marksman. And I know I've shot plenty of times, and as many times as I've shot, I am a shitty shooter. And I need to
Same here.
And
you would think you would aim so that you would count for him turning. You know what I mean? So you would aim a little bit further over just for that, you know?
Well, the thing is that if that bullet was coming from a different area and he turned just a little bit, it was supposed to hit him in the head. I mean,
but
the guy
besides, like in the photos of his ear after it's been injured, there is no hole in it.
Yeah. I had some forensic people say that if that kind of caliber of bullet that apparently this was, you know, like it was a large rifle thingy, it would have taken half the ear off and he would have been deaf in that ear. You know, like no, it doesn't add up.
Yeah, it does not add up. No.
It doesn't. Yeah, but this is but then this is quite the iconic photo. So all of these photographers, you know, those photographers that came there and got these slow motion shots and did all this work, you know, either way, you know.
It's a psychodrama, that's all. It's a psychodrama.
The shot, though, that would have been one.
Yeah, I mean, with a raised fist.
This is the $1 million shot right here.
Yeah, that's I told you, that's the $1 million shot. He just won the election with this now. So, you know, it was all planned out.
What you guys say.
The episode in question is Season 7's Lisa the Iconoclast, which is about
Season 7.
Lisa discovering that Springfield's founder, Jebediah Springfield, was actually a fraud and a pirate. It was supposed to air on Channel 4 the afternoon of July 14th, but two moments that could be seen as in bad taste got it swapped out for another episode. The first comes when Springfield attempts to kill President George Washington, only to...
See, but then these things, you know, let's go back to this. Anyway, the point is that, you know, they get all these people involved.
I think, Lisa, that you've been taken in by an obvious forgery.
Anytime something in reality even remotely resembles a Simpsons scene, people are quick to say how the show can see into the future. Simpsons fans were stunned when it seemed like the show predicted the Titan submersible incident in 2023, and one episode appears to predict a future UK crisis. Of course, this has less to do with the Simpsons.
So, do the Simpsons really predict things or not? That's a good question.
They seem to be on point with a lot of things, I gotta say. I don't know how they do it, but yeah.
Yeah, they do. They really have. They seem to be creepily accurate in a lot of
even
things.
Down to the paper falling. Like, that's impossible. So I don't know if they have like some looking glass that they can go and look into the future, or Or do they know how to time travel already and they're just playing with us? Which I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it's also one of the longest running shows. I mean, I remember when it started, which was like, what, 1984, 1985?
Yeah, when I first moved here.
Yeah, it was a spin-off from the Tracy Ullman show.
Thing on, what's her name?
Tracy Ullman.
Tracy Ullman. That's right. I used to watch that. Yeah, I remember the beginning of this show.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's still going. I mean, that's unbelievable longevity for any TV show, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just going back and look at the owners of this, right? And their connection to a certain country, certain type of people. It's all there. You know, if you look deep enough, you'll see it. You know, some.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know who was saying Off the Hook says we're watching effing cartoons. Yeah, but see, that's the thing is through animation and cartoons, you know, they can let things slide. It's just a cartoon, it's fiction, it's not real, you know, and that way they can put it out to us. So when it actually does happen, people go, oh, I seen that on the Simpsons. Is it real? And just like tonight, we're talking about it. Dalibor, you're saying it was made believe, you know, it didn't really actually happen that way. It was wrestling, you know, kind of
special effects.
What about the guy that died? You know,
well, first of all, do we really know that somebody died? I mean, has anybody seen his death certificate, right? Has anybody seen his dead body? How come we can't see anything other than pixelated versions of the shooter being killed?
But was it real? I mean, we don't know. Yeah, I know.
They make realistic dummies.
Yeah, they do. I know.
Yeah.
So, you know, until you see an actual death certificate for a guy by that name, because chances are, if you look up his name, you'll probably find nothing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas any normal person, it generates a huge internet footprint.
Going back to the comment about a cartoon, you know, making fun of a cartoon. But you know what? Comedians have been doing this since day one. You know, they'll say it's funny because it's true. You know, and they can say it and it's funny and we laugh at ourselves, you know, and at situations through comedy. And that's how you can kind of get things out there by saying it with a smile or putting it in a cartoon or, you know, who was it? Was it Rothschild or one of those fuckers back in the day said that, yeah, we're going to be poisoning you, but we're going to be plastering it up with cartoons. We're going to have nice little slogans there so that you will want to participate and you want to eat this and you want to, you know, so they're giving it to us with some sugar on it, right?
Yeah, toxic sludge is good for you.
Yeah, it's good. That's right. They told us that, actually, literally told us that sugar was fine. It was the fat that was bad, right? Completely opposite, right? So they've been doing this kind of stuff for, you know, since, well, I don't know when it started, but yeah. So, and they tell us about it too. If you listen, right? They tell you right there, like, you know.
So Off the Hook says that this guy actually had a funeral, Trump attended.
Right, yeah.
So
that still doesn't make it real. That still doesn't, you know.
We don't know for sure, you know, and I do understand, you know, we shouldn't be, you know, making light of, you know, if people were hurt, you know, obviously this is a tragedy and, you know, not to undermine that, you know, if you know what I mean, but still, like, but do we know? You know, that's the thing. We're so jaded now with everything.
I mean, sure, this guy had a funeral, but did Tiffany Dover get a funeral? No.
Yeah, no, I agree. But see, that's the thing. I think, in my opinion, that there had to be 1, 2, maybe 3 shooters, and this guy was a patsy. He was a bad shooter. The guy that probably got killed was the one that bullet he was shooting. The Trump got shot by the real guy because the real guy probably would have got close and not miss. But something, I feel, intervened, or, you know, he just twisted his head just so at the right moment. Because if he hadn't twisted his head just a little bit, he would have got it in the head and he would have been dead. I mean, that quick. And there would have been no coming back from that.
No. So
But-
so the question is, was this divine intervention, or was it simply just a coincidence?
And plus, we don't even know if that really was Trump, because these
Well,
famous people all have doubles, right? How do we know it wasn't a double? We don't know that.
The bad
Yeah.
part is that with that idea is there's so many pictures of Trump right there that there's people out there comparing his face from 2 days ago to that face right then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But
But you got to consider, you have to consider all possibilities.
Like I was saying earlier, there's so many people cashing in on this whole thing now, right? So my friend Daniel, there he's up on Gilded, and he's talking about, oh my God, he got switched out at the last minute. There was a hole there that he wanted, and that's why he says, "Where's my shoes?" So this is a big thing about, because he didn't have his shoes on yet because he wasn't expecting to be changed out at that moment. So that's going around too now. Like, I'm pretty sure people right there would have seen that. But then again, we were just talking about that people that were right there seemed like actors. So they probably wouldn't say anything anyways, even if they did see it.
Yeah,
So,
but the shoes, that's weird because that ties in with the research that was done by Ole Damegard, right? Who found like all these piles of shoes at all these mass shooting events.
Yeah.
Right. It's just one of those play on words again, isn't it? It's strange how all these, like, whoever made this Matrix video game that we're in here, I got to give it to him. There's a lot of good details, I got to say, I don't know. Like,
what if he meant something else by saying shoes? Or
shoes,
what
right?
if there's something in his shoes that gives him signals as to how he should talk or react or whatever? Because shoes have been used as a communication device by like casino scammers, right? But they had like toe switches inside where they could communicate with each other secretly.
That's true.
You would
Yeah.
think that somebody like Trump would have that kind of stuff going on, but
Who knows? Yeah, like Dick Tracy stuff,
you would think with that kind of money that you have the means for it. So why wouldn't you, right? So and they show us that kind of stuff in comedy. Like you just mentioned, show us all that, because it's funny and holding up the shoe and the technology, and all this, and we're laughing at it. But you know what? If they're showing us this stuff, they've probably already been doing this for a long time.
And speaking of shoes, there was also Jade Helm 15, and the symbol was like the wooden shoe, right? If you remember that. And Jade Helm 15, that was a military simulation of what it would look like if you put AI in control of the military.
Yeah.
Somebody's mentioning ritual here. I have to put this out here. I don't know for sure, but it just seems a little coincidence. That night that this happened was the opening night of the Bohemian Grove. And I was when I saw like, oh, was this the opening day ritual that was supposed to happen that didn't happen now then?
The cremation of
all to be kind of said on that is a real coincidence that was the opening night of their 2-week, that would have been, oh my gosh,
and few people know this, but the historical kingdom of Bohemia is Czech Republic.
Oh, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, Bohemia.
Nice.
So it's all your fault.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right there, Czech flag.
Oh man,
my grandpa was Bohemian.
So it's your fault too. I don't have a connection. I don't think.
Yeah, and my grandma was German, so it makes me a Bohemian bohunk.
Yeah.
German. I was married to German. Does that count?
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. But see, that's the whole thing. But there's been seers through the years. I'm wondering when the first post of Nostradamus picking this up is going to happen. Throughout history, there's been all these soothsayers, predictors of the future, just like this Brandon Dale Biggs, who predicted this, and of course nobody listened until it actually happened. and then it's like, oh boy, this really happened. But if they would have paid attention ahead of time, this would have never happened. So
it makes you wonder too, like, are they, because we were talking before the show, words, it ripples out there. You're starting something, and Kim Clement, for instance, he's been doing all of these predictions, supposed to be from God, all of this, whatever. But 10 years ago, he was up there talking about Trump, talking about all kinds of, now the Christians, of course, are bringing all this up again and how he's right now and whatever. But yet he put that in motion, though, 10 years ago, didn't he? So who is chicken or the egg here? Who started what? You know what I mean? So that's the thing about time and words and all this, it's, makes you wonder. And also on the caveat of that, there was somebody else that popped up on my feed who had also done predictions 2 weeks prior to this. And that guy was so bang on that he even mentioned head wound as well. Headshot, head wound. Like there's so many people who have had this very, very, detailed predictions. That is very bizarre because most of the time they're not that detailed.
Well, it's also interesting. It's also interesting how this relates to the Reagan assassination attempt in 1980.
Yeah.
Right? That was 3 months into that was also not kosher. But my opinion on that particular assassination was that it was a real assassination that went through. I think Reagan was killed. I think the original Reagan was killed March of 1980. And also, one other bystander was shot. That was Brady, right? He was paralyzed in a wheelchair from that. But I think he got switched out because it's impossible for somebody who gets shot in the heart to be back in office 12 days later, right? 12 days he's back in the Oval Office. I mean, give me a break. No, it does not happen.
They also said about Reagan when he came back. I read about this, that when he came back after the shooting, they said he was never quite the same as he was before the shooting.
No kidding, right? Because it was a different guy.
Yeah. They say that about Trump too. He's not the same. The energy has changed. But then again, if you were just shot at, I guess your energy would change a little bit. I mean, when you take a day or two off, no, he shows up for his 9 a.m. tea time the next day. Again, that's not normal behavior either. I don't care. You're trying to look tough. You're trying to look all this, but still, like when you take a couple of days off to assess the situation before you literally go out on your regular tea time, which would be the perfect place to take him out, by the way. If you know where he's golfs all the time, take him out there. Like,
that's Nina, you are so right on.
And also, the other parallel between Trump and Reagan is the fact that his election was in large part orchestrated by the moral majority, right? The Christian right, again. They went out in droves to vote for him.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is if Trump, but you got to remember, if he went to his tea time, he was only shot in the ear. It's like getting pierced.
But psychologically, though, I think,
everything and
I don't know. If that was real, that would be very psychologically traumatic.
Yeah.
Knowing that they won't be dead that much,
I'm sure they encouraged him to go out too and say, listen, go out. You need to show the public you're strong, not weak. You're going to continue on. This is a thing.
Yeah, I get it. But still.
I get that part. But I do agree with you about Reagan. He was mortally wounded there. That was a huge shot.
Yeah, huge. Like it missed his cardiac muscle by like half an inch or something. I mean, he had to have his chest open. That in and of itself is not something you recover from like in 2 weeks. No.
I haven't looked into Reagan, but what the little bit I've seen lately now, that is from what I understand, is that it went through the security guard and into him. So I'm surprised that he was wounded that bad. If it gone
and it was
person first, but which also shows you the security. That's how security is supposed to be. You go and look at Reagan, what happened there. You couldn't even tell where Reagan was after, or what happened there. Like they were on him so good. You know what I mean? And then you go look at Trump, like, what the heck? his head is completely exposed right after. I mean, I'm surprised that they didn't get another shot in there. Like
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. It just seems a little weird.
No, I agree in some ways, but they did kind of cover them up, and I'm sure they, see, that's where I'm saying is the FBI, CIA, whoever was guarding them, they knew what was going on. They knew when it was started, and they knew when it ended.
Yeah.
And besides, like, these assassination attempts happen with like stunning regularity in the United States. I mean, because Kennedy, that happened in what, 64, right? Then 1980, that was less than 20 years later. You had Reagan. There was an attempt on what's his face, Clinton's life, if I'm not mistaken. Then now Trump, right? So roughly every 20 years, there's an attempt on a president's life.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, and the thing is who's predicting this stuff? A lot of people predict this stuff, and we can go back in time. Let's go back in time a little bit.
Sure.
Let's go way back to the Greeks, and we have the priestess Pythia. She had the Temple Apollo, and she predicted future wars and national problems, and they depended on her. And of course, that transformed into the 8th century, where they had the Oracle of Delphi. People depended on the Oracle. People went there to listen to the Oracle tell them, what to do and what was going to happen. Would I be successful in war, or would I die? We can go to Nostradamus. He was in the 16th century. I can't remember exactly which.
16th century, yeah.
And then you got Daniel Douglas Home. You never heard of him, but he was a predictor. And you got Edgar Casey. And then the big one, we got Bhagavata, the blind prophet lady.
Baba Vanga, yes.
Bhagavanga. She predicted 9/11 and the tsunami of 2004. She also predicted Putin and Trump's lives being in danger. So, she didn't predict the death, but she predicted them being in danger. And I would count that this was one of them being in danger.
Yeah, and I've also heard that, is it the Chinese guy is ill? And then I heard something about Putin as well is ill. So there's a lot with the leaders right now, and then when we parted the show on Sunday, we were like, okay, let's see what happens this week. Was that the event that Cliff was predicting, or is there something else? Well, we haven't talked about what happened yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
What happened yesterday?
No.
We had a major outage in the U.S. So
yes.
Access to banks, they weren't, they were out, this, that, and the other thing. Didn't affect me here, but a lot of people it did. And so that, I do believe, is a trial run for the big one that's coming. Okay, so there's that too that happened this week. That was pretty major. So
all the more reason to switch to Linux, like I did years ago.
Don't worry, you are right. I just listened to a news podcast about that, where in the other countries, believe it or not, most of these other countries use Linux.
Yeah.
And when the Microsoft stuff went down, they were running fine. They just laughed at us and said, "You're idiots. You're using Microsoft. We use Linux."
Yeah. Besides, both of them are written in C++, right? So, the same C++ programmer can write code for Linux like you can for Windows, right? Except nobody's really seen Windows code, at least not all of it in one place. But it's also because Linux is free, and a lot of these countries are kind of poor and can't afford $250 for an operating system, for something so basic.
So switching out your computer, that's definitely an option, but also going back to cash. Right? Because before they take out the whole system, cash is going to be king.
Yes.
Okay, so if you got money in the bank, you want to get that out. So you want to have that in cash at home. And so I did that last year. I switched my bank. I'm refusing to pay the bank money to spend my own money. Like, that's ridiculous. I go and take it all out. I leave only what's in there for the bills. That's it. I take the rest out. And so, like yesterday when the thing went down, Daniel's calling me, I can't get into my bag. Oh. Well, I told you a long time ago to get the cash out. I'm fine. Even if the bank went, I don't care. Like, I'm set. That way you can still purchase things with the cash. Okay. And then, of course, if you got a lot of money, you should have been transferring that into gold, which is rising like crazy right now. Told you so. And I would also get silver, because that's also going to be another one that's very undervalued. That will be the currency in the future. Okay, so these are things that I've been talking about for years, but nobody's doing anything.
I've been talking about it for years as well.
Doing anything?
And I think silver has a lot more upside potential than gold, because I mean, right now the gold-silver ratio is like totally aberrant, because the usual gold-silver ratio used to be like 1 to 25 or 1 to 20, right? Where 1 ounce of gold equaled 25 ounces of silver. But nowadays it's like 1 ounce of gold equals what, 120 ounces of silver? That's unreasonable. Also, if you take into account like historical prices, silver should be worth about $550 today per ounce.
It's very
and gold should be worth about $10,500 an ounce. So in other words, the upside for silver is a lot higher than it is for gold.
Yeah.
And I would also recommend silver
depending on how much money you have, right? Gold is expensive, so you can get one gold coin or several silver, so whatever you got room for, whatever your budget is, and that kind of thing. And also, you also got to think about, how do I get rid of it later? Because it will draw attention to you if you're running around with gold coins. So there's that to think about as well, right? So,
it's easier to counterfeit gold than it is to counterfeit silver. And, anybody can buy themselves a silver test kit. All you got to do, it costs like $5 online, and it's a little bottle, and that's all you need. With gold, it's a bit more complicated. In other words, there's a lot more fake gold out there than fake silver. So your chances of, if you want to buy it on the open market, like on eBay and stuff, the chances of getting gypped are much lower if you're just buying silver.
Yeah. So there you go. Get it from a reputable place, right? You don't want to just, get it from anywhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere where you can trust, that it's 99. 0.99, whatever it is, pure. And
And besides, like silver is the best conductor of electricity, and no other metal comes close. And that one characteristic makes it invaluable for electronics. And that characteristic is also unduplicable by any other metal or combination of metals.
Yes. Well, there was a reason why the Anunnaki wanted that gold in the first place. So obviously there might be some uses for the gold that we don't even know about yet. So I wouldn't dupe the gold, okay? And that seems to be rising right now. So I would definitely invest in that if you have the means. Stash that stuff away, bury it. Don't put it in the bank, obviously. Don't have anything in the bank. Get rid of your stocks and all these things, okay? It's going to be gone just like that. You're going to wake up one morning and not only can you not access your bank account, it's all gone, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Silver is quite easy to buy. You can buy it on eBay or wherever you want to buy it. Just buy some junk silver. Remember, you're going to pay a premium for it. But, it's going to increase eventually. You can't just buy it and then just put it away and then spend it tomorrow and expect to get your money back. You buy it, and then hold on to it. So if you can only afford $5, buy $5. It breaks down in little pieces. If you have to buy a quarter at a time, buy a quarter at a time. Don't worry about, I got to spend $500 and buy, $500 worth to get anything. No, buy a little bit. You can raise $5 or $10 or $20.
I mean, silver is also very low in price right now, because look at it this way: 100 years ago, silver cost $2.50 an ounce. which was very expensive, considering the fact that back in those days, people would earn about $1 a day, right? Whereas today people earn $20 an hour. So in other words, compared then to now, silver is practically free.
Yeah,
it is.
No, go and get it, guys. It's still cheap. Go and get it now. You're not too late. Even the gold, it's going to go up more than what it is right now.
I totally agree. But Scotty Boy brings up a good point. What good is coins when there's nothing to buy? Also, there is the second factor. The second factor is what good, and my buddy brought this up to me too, and he kind of made it a point to me, and I understand his outlook on this. It's like, okay, I have silver, and I want to trade it to you for some eggs. But you don't understand the value of silver, which most people don't. You can watch those Mark Dice videos where he's out there with a silver coin or a gold coin, and he says, you want the candy bar or the gold coin? And they look at him and go, well, I don't know what gold is, but I know what a candy bar is. I'll take that.
I know.
I've
seen that. I know. But I'm pretty sure people are going to get a lot more educated once the shit hits the fan, though. So
they're gonna have to. But right now, there's a lot of people, I really do believe, that have no idea what gold and silver is, because it's one of those things that's been out of the circulation for so long, for generations. They would rather trade in dollar bills, which they can understand, or Bitcoin, or some cryptocurrency kind of thing.
Again, if the internet is down, guys, there is no crypto. Okay. There's no bank, no crypto, none of that. The only thing is of value is cash and silver and gold. That's it.
And whatever else you can physically hold. And that means anything physical is an asset, and that could include stuff like heroin, right?
I was gonna say, or prepping. Get the stuff that people are addicted to, like cigarettes and alcohol.
You
trade that in for food, right? People are gonna want to do that. And
so I think
alcohol going to stock up on food and water, and then get seeds so you can continue to grow, right, and get into all of that.
Alcohol is a great thing to have around the house, because if the medical system goes down, you need some disinfectant. Right?
There you go. It can be used for that as well. There you go. So those are tradables. Even getting some extra underwears and socks and things that people are going to need, you can trade that. As a 10-pack of tube socks. Now all of a sudden that thing might just cost you $5 right now, but that's going to be worth like a lot of food down in the future. When you think about tradables. But that's just a prepper in me. I've been doing this for years, so it just baffles me that people still aren't ready. Like even after what's going on right now, even what happened yesterday, like. Yeah,
I think what the one elephant in the room that everybody's been predicting in one way or another that nobody wants to address is the coming collapse of the United States as an empire. Yes. And that's, I think, a very real possibility, because empires don't last as long as the United States has. No other country on earth has had a currency that's been as valid for as long as the U.S. dollar has been. I mean, it's been around all dollars printed by the U.S. government since 1789 are still valid to this day. They are still legal tender. No other country can boast that long of a longevity of its currency.
No. We are definitely due, and then the thing is that it's not just the U.S. It's all of the Western world. So Europe, if you look at the Deagle report, we keep going back to that.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
It was a Germany and U.S. or not U.S. UK, 80%. Like, I don't know exactly what they're planning on, but majority of the people are going to be gone. Yeah. So, they want to take down the whole Western thing. They want communism back. They want, China and Russia, they want their own systems back. And so be prepared for that. Do you want to survive it though? So we're going to be going back to the good old Western days. Think about that. What did your pioneer ancestors do, right? With no electricity and, surviving the harsh conditions in North America or Europe for that matter. It's even worse in Europe because some of the winters there are pretty bad. But yeah, start thinking that way. I know it's not fun, but that's the way we're heading, so.
It also might not hurt to get yourself some physical printed books, right? Like encyclopedias.
I've been talking about that for years as well. I keep buying all kinds of books. I don't read them because I know in the back of my mind that one day I'm not going to have anything else to do than to read these books. That's all I got left, so.
Yeah.
I feel the same way some days. I buy these books and I think someday all of this.
And I have 3 wood burning stoves. I have a wood burning stove in this apartment, and in the bottom apartment, and one in the basement. So, yeah,
perfect.
If necessary, I can burn coal or wood or garbage or anything.
So that's the big problem. Like for me, out in North Dakota, yeah, I got a couple wood burning stoves, 2 or 3. And the question is do I have anything to burn in them? And that's my big problem is there's not a tree it's North Dakota. There's no trees.
Oh,
and
no way.
I keep thinking, oh man, what do I burn? I'm SOL.
Can you buy some? Like, are you able to get a hold of some?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm working on next.
Yeah, I would stock up the wood. Don't use it
for
for now, but you just stock it up.
But you know as well as I do. I mean, well, I lived in Wisconsin. You burn a lot of wood, and it goes really fast.
Yeah.
Wood is
but
not very...
winter without it, though. You're gonna wish you had that wood, right? So, because you're not gonna be able to get through the winters there. It's pretty cold where you are. So,
yeah.
In a typical year, I would go through about a room full of wood. Room full of wood. That's because I relied on a wood burning stove as my dominant heat source for 6 years in Czech Republic, where I lived for an aggregate of 15 years. To Scotty Boy, who addressed that issue before.
And going back to what Scotty said, what good is the gold and the silver if you don't have anything to eat? So that's the thing. Like, we're talking getting those things once you've already stocked up. So you want to have your wood, whatever that's going to cost you. You want to have enough wood and some source of heating. So maybe it'll be some kind of fuel or wood, whatever it is, enough for at least the winter, right, to get by. So you want to purchase these things first. Same with your protection. Go and get those. What good is a gun if you've got no ammunition? Again, so you need to know where to put your money. Prioritize what is the most important, and then once you've got all of that taken care of, then if you got excess and you don't know where to put it because you can't put it in the bank, then get your coins. That's kind of how it is. You know what I mean?
That first 3 to 6 months is the most important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would say too. I think pretty much after that, we're going to start to get used to it. We'll get used to how we used to do things. And, we're going to come like whoever survives. I do believe that this place is going to be great for those who do survive. And we're going to band together communities. We're going to help each other out. If we can't afford to heat up every house, we're going to take one house and we all go there. You know what I mean? Like there's ways of survival, right? But we can't be on our own. We're not going to survive on our own. We need each other, and we all have our own gifts and talents that we can bring in to the community and help each other out. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be any wants or needs. We all should be able to, chip in. So yeah. But we need to start wrap our minds around having to do that. We're not going to be Netflix and chill anymore.
Well, Steve, I wouldn't go so far as to see it all as doom and gloom, because we do have real life scenarios as to how this played out in the past, right? Here in Germany, you had a hyperinflation between 1922 and 1923, which also happened to be a really bad winter. So, during this time, coal went up in value like you wouldn't believe.
I bet.
Because wood was at a premium because it was being used to print more currency, right? Because they were constantly printing more and more currency because the money just wasn't holding up. And people did not resort to mass violence, believe it or not. They didn't. There were isolated incidents of like city folk who would go raid farms and like kill a few cows and bring them back home and stuff. But that's only because the farmers were holding out. Why? Because for every day that they held out, they would get like 10% more money for their produce or their meat or whatever. So by the time it got on the market, it was already like going bad.
Well, you brought up a
Right.
good point about the city people. And that's
Yeah.
the problem. Our cities have grown so large that
Yeah.
when shit does hit the fan, all that food and everything comes trucked in day by day by day. And the
Mhm.
cities are so large. You're talking millions of people who live in like the city of Chicago. And when
Mhm.
the city, when that, the trucks stop rolling in with all that food, those people are going to be SOL. And
Yeah.
what will they do when they're out of food?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that remains to be seen because we haven't seen any of this on the American continent, like in
No.
North America.
I live in the city. I can tell you right now, we'll be coming to your farms to raid.
Yeah.
That's what we'll be doing,
Mhm.
and or band together as a community. Hopefully, we won't have to get to that point, but chance, yeah, there's a good chance. When as a parent, if you got to go through a scenario where you got to watch your children starve, you're going to do whatever you need to do to get food. I don't care
Mhm.
how civilized you think you are. So nobody's safe at that instant, and that's where you need protection and be smart and know your neighbors and band together. And we got to go back to the old ways of, how we used to fort it all up so that animals couldn't get to us, and just, just the way we, that's kind of what we got to go back to,
Mhm.
and there'll be a lot less of us too. So there's not going to be as many to contend with. It'll be the strong that survive, obviously. Whoever's prepped,
Yeah.
whoever's mentally prepped, as well as physically, are the survivors. The rest who are in denial, who are sleeping right now, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, you're not going to make it.
Yeah,
So,
because your worst enemy is your neighbor.
yes,
I put it that way.
yeah,
Your neighbor.
Mhm.
Because if
Mhm.
you got
Yeah.
food, you're all prepared, and you say, "Oh, it's all great. I got food. I'll just hunker down." And your neighbor finds out, and they got kids, and they want to feed them. They're gonna do whatever it takes to feed their kids. If it kills
Yes.
you or not, look at the Donner Party. Back in the 1800s when they're trying to cross the mountains,
Yeah.
who were the first people they killed off? They killed off their guides, the Indian guides that they had.
Yeah.
They're like, well, they're not one of us. Let's kill them
Mhm.
off and eat them. Those were the only people they murdered. The other people,
The only
were
people
all-
that's the chance of getting them saved at the same
Yeah,
time,
that's
right?
the stupid thing you could do, but whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. Loyalty and all, but yeah, it's not fun to think about, but yeah, just prep, just get ready, like
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose plan for the worst, but hope for the best.
that's right. That's what I do. I've already prepped enough, and that's one thing I was going to say. That's one thing that I've kind of sabotaged myself here, is that I'm very open about being a prepper. And so when the shit hits the fan, unfortunately, my door is where everybody's going to be knocking. And so, but hey, whatever. If I can save a couple people by being open about it and getting people ready, I guess I've done my job here then. Like I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. So there you go.
No. Yeah, I don't have the physical strength to like do any of this like macho Rambo stuff. I can't. Forget
No,
it.
I don't
No,
I don't either.
I'd be
Yeah.
one of the first to die like within the first
Yeah.
15 days or whatever. Forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I've-
we're in the city, we're not, unless you're all souped up with all kinds of guns and stuff. But I live in Canada. We're not allowed to have them. Trudeau
Mhm.
makes sure that we're armless by the time this happens, right? And then
Mhm.
going back to the whole patsies and MK Ultra and all of this, well, that's what's happening here in Canada, or they would use the US bang bangs as an excuse as to, it was like a matter of hours. Oh, yeah, well, we better tighten down the rules over here. No more guns because,
Mhm.
it was all set up, so that he could just go and change the rules then. And I'm sure that's what was happening down in the States too. They're trying to disarm you all down there so that, you obviously, so you can't defend yourself. But yeah, good luck with that. It hasn't worked out too well down in the States from what I can see. So, but here in Canada, unfortunately, Trudeau I can't wait for
Yeah.
him to be on, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think all those Anglo countries like England, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, they're all like fucked because they got rid of all the guns. I mean, in Czech Republic, we actually have a new law that's only about 2 years old that's called the Czech Second Amendment, where everybody has the right to self-defense, right? You can buy most weapons that are like 22 caliber or lower with just an ID. That's it. You don't need a specialized gun license. And you also don't need a license for any weapon that's over 100 years old or that takes Flaubert type cartridges where it shoots the whole thing instead of just, the bullet and the cartridge goes separate.
Like a black powder gun.
Something like a black powder gun, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you have the right to self-defense. And that's the important thing. And even in Canada, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can get a crossbow or something.
Yeah, and it's good to have a defense weapon, or defense tool, I should say.
Or even one of the best and most accurate ones is a blowgun, because you got it right between your eyes, right? Very easy to aim. You don't need necessarily a lot of power or strength. It's silent. And if you use the right weapon, it can be quite deadly.
It could. Absolutely. Like I said, there's plenty of weapons out there that you could use that are either violent or non-violent. Nowadays they got this net gun. I seen this net gun. That was kind of interesting, where you shoot the thing and it's a big net comes out, captures your enemy. So that's kind of cool. Blowgun is good. You can buy them on eBay, and you can practice by, shooting little things around your house, little targets, and it doesn't cost you much. They're really cheap. It's just basically a tube. And the little darts that are really cheap. It's basically a piece of PVC pipe.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's different options. Yeah, for sure, there's different options. But
a slingshot. Slingshot's been around forever. I even bought one of those ones that, the David and Goliath guy had, where it's two pieces of leather with a little thing on it. And then you put the rock in there and you swing it over your head. And,
that requires a lot of practice.
Practice.
And you know what's weird? Like here in Germany, you're allowed to have a slingshot, but you're not allowed to have the slingshot where you have the piece that comes out and goes over your arm.
Really?
And that's the one that actually gives you the power, right?
Well, that's why it's not legal.
That's why it's not legal. Yes. Yeah.
You can have whatever you want as long as there's no power behind it.
Yeah, as long as it's just like some impotent Patushka weapon. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
A rubber band, that's fine, but no. No, I know. That's the thing. We got to stop asking and just do, stop out whatever. And even like for females, like a bear spray.
Yeah.
Or bats, baseball bat. There's different things that you can have around that you should have around anyways.
Oh yeah.
It could be the local crackhead that comes through your window as well. So, but you do what you can. I mean, not to worry about it too much. I mean, but so there you go. You got some stuff there.
I almost killed myself with this thing because I was cleaning like my area here, and I was like dusting this off. And I decided to like clean it, and I didn't know how sensitive this thing was, and for some reason it was aimed like in front of me, right? But it bounced back at me when I accidentally triggered it, and I got a big whiff of it. My God, holy shit!
Yeah,
you do not want this. Yeah, it works. Oh yeah.
So you guys can actually make your own of that stuff, eh? Like it's not that hard. There's recipes on YouTube. Go and download that now while you can, and you can make that with regular household supplies, apparently. So
or just get a water gun and put like battery acid in it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go that, crazy. I mean, there's lots of ways of mimicking things.
Yeah,
if you have
a water gun, a super soaker, which is like a battery powered one. That can shoot for like, I don't know, 5 meters or whatever. So if you load that thing with sulfuric acid and you shoot it in somebody's eyes, they go blind.
Oh yeah, that's
I got a really good one. My buddy did this, and I kind of suggested it to him. And if you get on eBay, you can buy skunk the urine.
Oh yeah.
What smells, and it comes and ships to your house. Now, I mean, the hunters use it, and you can use it but it lasts forever. But the thing is if somebody was going to break in your house and you took this and put it by like the front door, it would smell bad, but it would keep everyone out. Even if it had dogs, the tracking dogs or whatever. Trust me, you put this by the front door, nobody's coming in your house.
Yeah.
Your eyes are going to burn. They're going to smell skunk. When anybody smells skunk, they turn around, go the other way. Right? Yeah. Would you bust in the
except
door?
for my neighborhood, if we smell skunk, we come running. But a different skunk.
You know what I'm saying, though, is if you go to somebody's front door and it reeks of skunk right there, and then that foul odor, you're not going to come that way.
Less likely to enter. Odor. Yeah, it would have to be very desperate times.
Strangely enough, here in Europe, people don't know what that smells like because there are no skunks. There are no skunks in Europe.
Really?
None.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Huh. And as a matter of fact, a lot of Germans, my cousin being one of them, he actually did not believe that skunks were a real thing. He thought it was just like a legendary animal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird, eh? Oh yeah. And the weed smells just like it too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was no skunks in Europe. I mean,
none.
Well, people have been in Europe for so long.
Same with opossums. We don't have opossums.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, and opossums are weird because it's the only marsupial that lives outside of Australia.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. We got plenty of possums here. They're everywhere. But anyway, it is a thing. I mean, there's things you can do that are very simple to curb somebody from breaking in your house. That doesn't, you put a barricade up your door. Somebody's going to figure out some way to bust it in. But you put smell there, that's a big deterrent. And it's natural. Eventually it'll go away. It may take years, but it's going to deter a lot of people.
Yeah.
Simple. Things simple. Sometimes simple's the best. Anyway, we have gone an hour and 25 minutes or so. Anyway, and everybody's probably going to head over to Max Vision Remote View class, where you can probably remote view some of the next tries on Trump's life. Learn how to do that, and maybe you can predict what's going to go on over there, because we have used up our soothsayers that are out there. Maybe Nina, you could pull some cards this week on your hump day message and figure out what's going to happen with all of this stuff. That'd be a good one.
One thing we know for sure is that Joe's not running.
Yeah, he is, but he's never officially came out and said he's not running. He just said, if I get sick, I will throw in the hat. But he's never really said.
Conveniently, he came down with the Ronas again.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Even though he's 4 jabs and I don't know how many other boosters he's had, but now he's got the Rona again.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they exit him out of here. And you know what? It's a twofer. If he can die from the Rona, that means that A, he's out of the race, and B, hey, maybe we can come up with another vaccine for that. Right? Oh, the president, oh wow, we must rush and go and get a vaccine now. So that might be a twofer. That might be something that's coming up. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, never let a good crisis go to waste. You know how they operate. So there you go.
Well, if you can't get rid of the one guy, you got to get rid of the other guy. So I mean, I can see that plans have changed. Like I said, when we started out, people were putting shorts on Trump's companies because they believed that somebody tipped them off that he was not going to be here in the next 24 hours, And you know, I mean, so there's a long list of people or things that have happened that led to his demise, but somehow he was saved. That's why I'm saying I think it is real, but something happened, and the prophecy of him, you know, or the planning, I should say,
Well,
of him.
let's put it this way, though, Robert. It ain't over yet. So just because we haven't seen him in the coffin yet, I mean, considering his age and everything that's going, the stress that man must be under, just that alone could bring that on. You know what I mean? Never mind other things. So it ain't over yet. I wouldn't cash in your Christian chips yet if I was you. You know, just sit back, pop that popcorn, you know, because this show ain't over yet. You know, the rest of this year is going to be, and I've heard that the end of the year is when that whole financial thing is going to happen, is what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, right after the election, once the election hits, things are going to change.
Then it's going to get real. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just hold on tight, everybody. Just stay safe. I would avoid crowds. I wouldn't go to any of these rallies or any of that. Like, just, you know, stay out of it. Yeah. But I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow night, Robert will be on my channel. And we'll be doing episode 3 of the Adam and Eve story, which has to do with the pole shift. So that's a whole nother thing we got to worry about, I guess, right?
Yeah, the Chan Thomas book. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually starting to get really good now. So tomorrow, since we did this show tonight, I don't really need to do any recap tomorrow. We'll just dive right into that. I think get going on that so we can, you know, get some more info. It was starting to get good last week. So that's another interesting thing that might be happening, to be honest, that they know about. And this is why they're doing all these bizarre things. So, you know, at the end times, if they know, they're going to try and make as much money as they can before they're out of here. You know what I mean? And then they're going into their bunkers, staying safe, you know, while the rest of us go through the reset, you know. So there's that possibility is still on the table. Like, we don't know. And so, yeah, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, Nina6833, and join us tomorrow in the live chat.
They're not building bunkers for no reason at all.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those bunkers aren't cheap. They're spending millions of dollars on a bunker.
Yeah.
That doesn't need, you know, if nothing was going to happen. I mean, it's like saying I'm going to buy insurance for the end of the world, but who's going
to pay out on it?
Yeah, who's going to pay out on it? Who's going to
pay out on it? Yeah. I mean, I prefer to invest in above ground bunkers. I mean, technically speaking, I live in an above ground bunker. This house is made of steel reinforced concrete floors and everything, because it was built right after the war, right? In other words, it was designed.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one good thing. I mean, my building is concrete as well, so it's as good as it's going to get compared to all these, you know, cardboard houses around here. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for having us on, Robert. And we'll see you tomorrow, I guess.
We'll see you tomorrow. And thank you, Dalibor. Thank you, Nina.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Go out and manifest your own predictions. And if something comes true, or you have a prediction, you see a vision, let me know. Give me an email. Come on the show. You know, we'll talk about it. And if it comes true, you'll have 15 minutes of fame right there. Right now, improve your mind skills. Go over to Max Vision's remote view class and perfect your mind telepathy, or whatever you want to call it, but your remote viewing.
Remote viewing, yes,
your remote viewing. You know, perfect that. It's a thing. It's real. You'll be handy
at the end times. Like, if you don't have tarot cards, you don't have all these other things. If you can do the remote viewing, you know what I mean? That will be a handy skill to have at the end times. So there you go.
Absolutely. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Remember, go out and get yourself one of these cool shirts on Nina's Streamlabs, and you can wear my face and the Milky Way Soul Tribe on your chest, just like I am. This is a great shirt to have. It's actually really nice, a good quality shirt. And And there's several different varieties. Buy the mugs, just like Nina's got right there. I got one here, different variety of it. But there's mugs. There's all kinds of good things. Right now it's summer. There's what do you call them? Muscle shirts or whatever they are. All kinds of good things like that.
Yeah, men's and ladies, go and check out the store today.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Milky Way Soul Tribe all walking around with Milky Way Soul Tribe shirts. It'll be wonderful. Yeah. But anyway, there's one on there that honors Brian. If you remember Brian from the original Milky Way Soul Tribe, who gave us our start here, at least me. And there's one to honor him, so check that one out. Thank you, everybody. Remember, go out and do something nice for somebody else, because that's what matters. Doing something for somebody will make you be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love y'all. Peace, everybody.
Yep.